What was the critical moment, I guess, somewhere around here, that you felt the game changed? Like something like this. The engine loved...
First of all, I loved finding the idea of bishop e4. So otherwise he goes d5 at some point and my bishop is sort of shut out. And this way I get it into the game. So around here I was kind of feeling that I was probably better. But it didn't seem clear at all. But it sort of felt like my moves were easier. Like I'm playing for tactics. Otherwise I'm just worse. So that kind of makes it easy for me to play. But I think what he did was very, very natural. But I
didn't like the move Queen H4, by the way. Did you feel like this was a natural move at the time?
I didn't. It surprised me at the time. Like Fabi explained after the game, that he was afraid I was going to castle kingside at some point, which makes a lot of sense. Because with a rook on d1, obviously, like moving the king to d2 and then to c1 or castling is like it's the same, just tempo more. So I can basically like castle at any time with the king on d2, and I generally felt that the king was better there. But he must have seen some lines concretely where the king goes to the king side, and he wanted to avoid that.
Did you feel that in the game when he played Queen H4 that it was not a great move, or you felt like it was irrelevant?
I felt that it was probably not a great move, but again, that was an intuitive feeling rather than based on any sort of deep calculation.
And when did you feel like, okay, that what you just did, son, I'm gonna have to punish you for it?
Yeah, so if we go a few moves further, this was all quite natural. And this, takes. This was an interesting moment actually, because my original idea was to play the move c4 here. But this is actually quite bad, because he goes d5, cd5, and now specifically cd5, which you kind of you often like discard immediately because you think you grab the queen and then knight c5, and then I realized that he just goes bishop c8 and I'm dead lost. Since if I take the pawns, he goes rook b8 and all of that, then he invades, and otherwise he just has two bishops and rolling pawns. So I had to sort of find something new there, but I didn't feel like the position was super critical. Like I felt like there should be something, and I love like the sheer sort of stupidity of just grabbing the pawn on b7. No, as I did in the game. Like it kind of feels absurd just to take this pawn, open the lines and everything. But what I'd seen is that we get this potential scenario of good knight versus bad bishop. Like once the pawn on d7 falls, then game is over, right?
Yes.
Even if he gets both my pawns on the queen side. So I felt like even though this kind of looks like madness, king in the center, grabbing all these pawns, even the knight on e4, right, it looks pretty, it's not stable because he can attack it at some point. I felt that it was always sort of justified tactically. And I was extremely happy to see the move rook takes b2 later on. Then I knew that I was winning.
Right here, he could have played bishop g7.
Yeah, bishop g7.
To deal with the queen
I also
a7
thought about
tactic.
bishop f6 actually.
Even this.
Yeah, even this.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just, I mean, engine says that white is better, but much better. But I'm 2 pawns up, but his pawns look menacing, and it's not obvious that my king is safe. So I didn't think that this was too clear.
But when he took the pawn, though, that
then everything, like that's the sort of the line that I'd calculated, and now everything falls into place. Now it's now everything is just just very, very simple.
You said you saw this coming. The rook b2 was
something. Rook b2. I knew that was a mistake, like because now I I get to activate my pieces, and I get to his pawn on d7, and once that pawn falls, doesn't really like, hardly doesn't even matter what kind of tactics and so on he might have, they're not going to work. And yeah, of course, rook f3 was important, but it was not very hard.
Well, not very hard for some people, but great find. Listen, fantastic game, great entertainment for sure. Last thought before we let you go. Tomorrow, you're up 1. Usually you play for a draw, like you shut things down.
That's the point. You cannot do this. Eh?
You can't do it in freestyle.
Yeah, and that's what's so fun about it. Like, even if you win as white, then as black, like making a draw on demand is it's much easier, but it's far from easy. And certainly tomorrow, I just gotta try and play a normal game, try and have fun like today, and you know, hopefully it's gonna go well. But yeah, it's a new day, it's a fresh position, and new chances.
My producer has asked me to ask you, fresh situation as well, playing on a yacht. What's that about? How did that feel, playing on it? It must be your first time, a competitive chess game on a yacht.
Yeah, I mean, when you're sitting at the board, doesn't really matter, but it was certainly a nice venue.
All right, well, thank you so much.